Are you constantly spotted on the street and people come up and ask you ludicrous time travel questions?
No, it's really nice. You know, I mean, people do spot me all the time, but they sort of spot Doctor Who rather than me, and they're always pleased to see Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
So
rather than you,
rather than me, because I'm quite boring. But Doctor Who's very interesting.
So what are the sort of time travel things that they say to you?
Oh, they never. You know, they actually get tongue-tied. People get really excited, or they say really dumb things like, you know, I thought you'd travel by the TARDIS.
Where's your TARDIS?
Where's your TARDIS, yeah, when you're on your way down to the shops to get your milk, you know, and your breakfast. Yeah, but generally, what happens is you become the centre for the affection that people have for the show. And that's a lovely place to be.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
Did you, because obviously when you were a little boy, you wanted to be Doctor Who.
Well, I didn't want to, but, you know, there's this kind of story that's got around that I spent every waking hour of my life, you know, grieving over the fact that I wasn't Doctor Who. But that's not what happened. When I was a kid, I mean, the show started when I was 5, and I just loved it, and I just always followed it, and I wrote little fan letters in and all that stuff.
Oh, you actually wrote fan letters?
I did, yeah. I had the autographs of some of the earlier Doctors.
How cool is that?
Yeah, and of course, rather awfully, when I was a teenager, as you do, you know, I had a sort of bonfire of the vanities when I threw out all my Doctor Who stuff. You know, so I don't have those autographs anymore, because you reach a certain age when you decide to go out into the world.
You decide to grow up.
You decide to grow up, and you sort of leave it behind. But then, very luckily, it came back calling.
How was the audition?
The audition was terrifying, but good fun, because they'd actually written specific, very unusually. You know, I didn't know they weren't auditioning anybody else. They didn't tell me all this stuff. So essentially, they were just kind of seeing what I sounded like with Doctor Who words in my mouth. But they'd written specific scenes for me, and they were all about being an older Doctor, which was very funny. And there was a wonderful regeneration scene where he woke up with this new face, but it was old. But he couldn't see that it was old, and he kept asking his companion, "How's the face?" And she'd be going, "It's okay." What do you mean, okay?
It is weird to regenerate into someone who's older.
That's right, yeah. But then I'm actually younger than the Doctor. I mean, the Doctor's really 2,500 years old.
Yeah, that's true. So I mean, given that, you're in great shape.
Yeah, and also because traditionally, I mean, the part was played by older gentlemen. So I'm more in
much older gentlemen.
Yeah.
One of the great things, I mean, this is an iconic role. It is an iconic television role, and there aren't that many iconic television roles.
Yeah.
One of the great things about it is, though, every time someone else takes over the role, they are allowed to change the personality quite substantially.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what we tried to do. I mean, I'm a great fan of Doctor Who, so I loved the previous incumbents. I love Matt Smith and David Tennant, Chris Eccleston, all the guys who've done the new Who. But they've all been slightly user-friendly. So I wanted to be a bit spikier.
Less pleasant.
Less pleasant, more unpleasant, more distant, more like me, basically. Because also I think it's difficult with a show that's 50 years old to generate any mystery.
Yeah.
So I wanted to put distance between myself and the audience.